All right, guys, here we are back again on this 4TA-390. It's in a case excavator. Pretty sure it's also a 4BT. Well, I know it's a 4BT, but it's just in a construction or industrial type application, but should be similar to some of yours that you're putting in Jeeps or whatever. So if you've been following my videos, I had to do an oil pump, so I had to pull all this stuff down here apart, get that timing cover off, put an oil pump in it. Had a pretty catastrophic failure there. It's in a previous video. All that's back together. Also had to do a thrust bearing. That is done. It's in a previous video. Oil pan's back on. It's tightened up, torqued down, so we should be good. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the turbo. Wasn't really planning on doing a turbo video, but here we are. Done so much work to this that I'm just going to go ahead and replace the turbo, because I think I kind of hurt it a little bit when I ran it low on oil, or when it lost oil pressure. So let's see, I don't know if I can get, let's see if I can get this guy out of the way a little bit. So let's see if you can hear this, or if I can get a picture of it. Sorry. Okay, so got just a little bit of play here, very little, but when it lost oil pressure it was knocking, so I'm just going to replace it. Gone too far to be digging into this thing again. I need it to work, so just going to go through kind of the process. You're going to loosen these two clamps, slide this out of the way as much as you can. Obviously, here's your oil feed, just a little spanner nut. You just take this off. Okay, you've got 4 bolts here. You can notice one of my studs came out. It's not a big deal to screw back in. It's over here. See, the nut stayed on it, so I'll screw that back in. This clamp right here sits right here, so you loosen that, and this one sits right here. You loosen that, just slide those out of the way. The only other bolts that really hold anything down are the ones on the oil return. So you got 2, they're 10mm on the bottom, 1 on each side. So you'll get those off, pull those out of the way. Let's see. I was hoping I could get that old gasket off nice and easy, but maybe not. Let's see. This looks like a gasket here. Alright, I'll play with that in a minute. It doesn't need to come off because it's coming off anyways. Alright, so now your turbo should be free, essentially. You'll just lift it up off of here. Again, hard to do with one hand. Okay, so old turbo off the motor. All right, so now you'll take your new one, got in this box over here. Okay, you want to make sure you put your gasket down here. You'll set your new one on, but it's probably not going to line up. Okay, so you're going to have to clock it, and I kind of mentioned this in a previous video. I'll mention it again. All right, so you'll put that gasket on, you'll bolt it down, okay, or snug it down. You're going to loosen these bolts. You be careful, because you got to use an open-end wrench for most of them. Okay, and you will rotate this guy around until your oil return and your oil feed are pretty much up and down. Okay, you want your oil return to line up. Your oil feed, obviously, it's got a little play, so you can kind of move it where you need it, but you definitely want your oil return to line up. Okay, so once you get that lined up, you'll tighten all of these back down. Now don't pull them out, just loosen them enough to where you can spin this. Okay, this will all spin. All right, so tighten those back down once you get your oil return lined up, and this is pretty much straight up and down. Then Okay, you will loosen up all of these. Okay, again with an open end wrench, so be very careful. You'll loosen them, not take them out, and you will rotate this side to line up with this. Okay, so again, I'm not going to show it. I despise working with one hand. It's almost impossible. So again, loosen these, get your return lined up, and your oil in and your oil return should be up and down. Then you will tighten these down. Then you will loosen these, and you will rotate this until it lines up with this hose. Okay, then obviously tighten these back down. Okay, at that point you can go ahead and button it up. This piece here on this specific turbo has to come off. Let's see, I think it is a 21. Again, impossible to do with one hand. Okay, so it's about a 20. So yeah, so you'll pull this nipple off, screw it onto your new turbo so that your oil feed fits down in there, and then you'll tighten everything back up. I'll do another quick one once I get it buttoned back up. So I hope this helps one of you guys.